of Excellence. Today you will discover why your firm should be participating in Pursuit of Excellence. You'll get some great tips to help you create your winning Pursuit of Excellence entry, and you'll understand exactly what it takes to win an award. Our presenters today are Jim Olson and Jessica Koth. Jim is owner of Olson Funeral Home and Cremation Service in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. His funeral home is an 8-time recipient of the Pursuit of Excellence Award and received the Best of the Best Award in 2009. Jim's funeral home is also an NFDA Green Funeral Practices Certificate funeral home, and he is one of the funeral profession's foremost experts on natural burial and funerals and green business practices. Jim is co-chair with Lynn Ochiltree of the NFDA Pursuit of Excellence Committee. Jessica is NFDA Public Relations Manager and staff liaison to the Pursuit of Excellence program. Jessica and Jim, welcome to today's NFDA webinar.
Thanks so much, Faye. I like to think that there's no big mystery to entering and submitting an entry to the Pursuit of Excellence program, but then again, I've been working with the program for the last 3.5 years or so, so I'm perhaps more familiar with it. And you know, when I first started at NFDA and was reading through the Pursuit of Excellence guidelines, I have to admit it was somewhat overwhelming. But I hope that in the next hour or so that Jim and I can give you some useful guidance and insight to help make the entry process a little less intimidating and help you understand what it is that Jim and his fellow Pursuit of Excellence committee members look for when they're evaluating and reviewing all of the entries that we receive. As Faye mentioned, we'll have some time at the end of our presentation for some questions, so please send them in as we go along and we'll answer as many as we can. So why should you participate in Pursuit of Excellence? This is a question people ask all of the time. And I know funeral service, it can be unpredictable. You never know when you're going to be called on to serve a family. At many firms, especially those small mom and pop firms, everyone wears multiple hats, especially the owners or managers. So in addition to being a funeral director, you're busy being the accountant, doing marketing and community outreach. You're the human resources person. Sometimes you're washing the cars and mowing the lawn. It's easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day activities and the things that you need to do to make your funeral home run smoothly. And that sometimes means that things like strategic planning or setting goals or measuring whether you've met the goals that you set for yourself, that can all fall to the bottom of your to-do list. Pursuit of Excellence, it offers standards of excellence in 6 different categories that cover almost every essential area of your business. So as you put together your entry, you'll be taking a look at how well your firm measures up to those standards in the course of a given year. And so that really makes the program a convenient tool for evaluating how well your business measures up to those international standards of excellence. It's also, Pursuit of Excellence also helps serve as a point of motivation for your staff. Over the years, I've heard from a number of award recipients that make the process of putting together a Pursuit of Excellence entry a staff project. So while one person may ultimately be tasked with organizing everything and compiling it all into one entry, a number of other people on the staff help out with compiling information, drafting descriptions of how the firm has fulfilled a particular criteria, gathering the documentation. The project really becomes a source of staff pride. Everyone's able to reflect on the things that their team has accomplished in this past year, and it motivates them to do even more the next year. Additionally, a lot of firms use Pursuit of Excellence as motivation for staff to think outside the box to use a cliche. And owners and managers really use Pursuit of Excellence as an opportunity for staff to suggest new ideas for the firm to try, whether it's something to help them serve families, or a community outreach project, or a new creative advertisement. Some of our award-winning firms have shared with me that some of their most successful programs weren't necessarily ideas that they came up with. Rather, it was a suggestion that came from an employee. So Pursuit of Excellence, again, it can be used to help you encourage your employees to go above and beyond their day-to-day duties and responsibilities. Finally, Pursuit of Excellence can help strengthen and improve your funeral home's reputation. It'll help you improve your reputation in the profession and among your peers. You're going to be recognized if you earn an award in front of your peers in a few ways. You'll be recognized in NFDA publications like the Director magazine and the Bulletin. Award recipients are also recognized during the NFDA convention, during the All-Star recognition ceremony. State associations occasionally do things to recognize award recipients. More importantly, the award can help strengthen your reputation in your community. All award recipients receive a suite of promotional materials, including a news release, ad flicks, a logo, and they can use these materials to help them publicize their achievement in the community. While earning a Pursuit of Excellence award, it may not be the only reason that a family would choose your funeral home over your competitor. It does offer a point of distinction, and it tells your community that your funeral home has been recognized for the way it goes above and beyond its service to families and the community. Jimmy, why don't you talk a little bit about why you participate, why it's important to you and your firm?
Sure. Thanks, Jessica. I have to admit, one of the first reasons we originally joined the Pursuit of Excellence was we wanted to stand out in our community. None of the other funeral homes were doing anything like this program, and we thought this would be a great way to set ourselves aside. But we quickly realized when we started looking at the criteria is that the program actually pointed out some of our weaknesses. Here we thought we were doing all these wonderful things, and then by using the program and its 6 different categories, again, it pointed out to us some of the things that we felt maybe we were lacking a little bit. For example, when we started looking at the different categories, we found out that some of our community outreach was a little, probably less than it should have been. So it made us reevaluate the way we were doing our business. It helps keep us focused because we know we want to try to meet these different categories. And so again, we're looking to fill those different spaces in our community or our outreach or in our educational programs that we have. But one of the other great ideas about it is once you're in the program, you do get to see what other funeral homes are doing and new ideas that they're implementing in their funeral homes. And other Pursuit of Excellence firms are more than happy to share that information with you. So we've actually incorporated some things into our day-to-day business that other funeral homes around the country and ultimately around the world are doing in their firms, and we're able to bring that back to our community and ultimately to those families that we serve.
Great. So that's a little bit about why you should participate. Let's move on to what you really want to know about, and that's how to participate. There are 3 categories of recognition within the Pursuit of Excellence program. First is the Pursuit of Excellence Award, which is the program's principal recognition. It's awarded to NFDA member funeral homes that fulfill the required criteria in 6 categories of achievement. When you earn the Pursuit of Excellence Award, in addition to getting a certificate of achievement, you get a brass base plate. You'll also get, as I mentioned earlier, a suite of promotional materials to help you publicize your achievement. Next is the Best of the Best Award. As part of the entry process, you'll be required to submit an essay in which you describe the development and execution of an innovative program or service. It could be a community outreach program. We've had people describe innovative funerals. It could be a new service that they've added for bereaved families. Just something innovative that your firm has done. You can choose to have that essay be considered and that idea be considered for the Best of the Best award. Each year, the Pursuit of Excellence Committee will select up to 10 funeral homes to receive the Best of the Best award. We'll talk a little bit later about what judges look for when selecting the Best of the Best award recipients. Funeral homes that earn a Best of the Best award, they'll receive a special certificate as well as some exclusive Best of the Best promotional materials. Finally, the Hall of Excellence. The Hall of Excellence, this is a special recognition that was created back in 2006 to recognize long-term participation in the pursuit of excellence and a commitment to service excellence. Funeral homes are inducted into the NFDA Hall of Excellence upon receiving their 10th Pursuit of Excellence award. All firms that are inducted into the Hall of Excellence receive a special certificate. They receive a medallion, a Best of the Best medallion on a neck ribbon. And they also receive a brick. We have a Hall of Excellence wall here at the NFDA headquarters in Brookfield. And so your funeral home's name will be inscribed on a brick on that wall. So the first step in participating is to register for the program. There's 3 ways you can register and pay the entry fee. You can, of course, register online by visiting the Pursuit of Excellence page on the NFDA website. It's quick, it's easy, you can pay with a credit card. From the Pursuit of Excellence website, you can download a copy of our 2014 Pursuit of Excellence registration and application materials booklet. And in that booklet, there is a registration form that you can fill out and either fax or mail to NFDA. You're also welcome to call your member service representative, and she will be happy to assist you with your payment. The registration fee is $295. We always have an early bird discount, and we also have special discounts for those that register on site at the NFDA convention. Something that we started offering last year is a special discount for those funeral homes that have been inducted into the Hall of Excellence. And so if you've been inducted into the Hall of Excellence in 2013 or earlier, you pay only $250. The registration form also gives you the opportunity to order commemorative merchandise, which is optional. And here you can see we have some of our commemorative merchandise. We have, there's a plaque on which you can affix the date plate that you receive as part of your award recipient package. We have statues, we have Pursuit of Excellence lapel pins. Many firms like to buy those and have everyone in their staff wear them. There's some special merchandise for the Hall of Excellence award recipients. As you can see, there's a frame there for that special medallion that you receive. We have some beautiful bronze plaques that you can actually affix to the outside of your funeral home building. So a number of options there for you. When you're compiling your entry, the first thing you have to know is that while you can pay your fee and submit your registration form at any time, all of your entry materials must be submitted by July 11th, 2014. And that's true whether you are entering electronically or by mail. July 11th is our deadline. And in order to be fair to all program participants, we have to hold firm to that deadline, and we can't grant extensions. Knowing that the deadline is July 11th, I recommend not waiting until July 10th to begin compiling your entry materials. I really encourage people to start as soon as possible. I mean, some firms start their entries as soon as they receive the program guidelines, and they use it as a tool for planning their activities throughout the year. Jim, do you want to talk about how you keep track of your Pursuit of Excellence activities and how you keep things organized throughout the year?
Certainly. We have our Pursuit of Excellence basket. It's kind of a big wicker box that we use here at the funeral home, and we simply just put things in it throughout the year that would fit in one of those categories. For example, perhaps we volunteered at a cancer walk or something, and there's usually some sort of acknowledgement that they would send us. So we put that, the thank you note or the acknowledgement for that event into our box. And then perhaps we did a tour for a confirmation class or something. So we'll take a picture of that, and then that picture goes in the box. So it's kind of a little record of all the things that we're doing throughout the year. Then occasionally throughout the year, I will go through the box and kind of put those into the different categories just to see kind of where we're at, what we're missing, things that we perhaps need to do yet for this year. And again, as Jessica mentioned earlier, don't wait till the last minute because you will go scrambling trying to figure out, now what should we do to put that information in there. So again, we just organize ours in the box. I know other funeral homes kind of compile their materials throughout the year. To be honest with you, I'm kind of too lazy for that, and that's the neat thing about this program. You can be very organized, or you can kind of wait. I personally like to put all my information in that basket together and then sit down 1 week, usually towards the end, usually in June we start that. And then we go through and compile all that information. So that's kind of how we do it here at my funeral home.
Great. As I mentioned, there are 2 ways that you can submit your entry. First is the electronic method. Currently, about a third of all of our participants enter electronically. And to begin that process, you just visit the Pursuit of Excellence page on the NFDA website. You see the address up there, nfda.org/Pursuit of Excellence. The electronic entry method is a little bit different this year. Instead of the form being web-based, which I know the last couple of years we've had some glitches with that. It's been a challenge. This year we're using, it's a downloadable entry form. So if you have Word on your computer, you'll have no problem completing the form. So you'll simply download that Word form, save it to your computer, and open it up and begin working on your entry. You'll be able to save it, work on it whenever you have time. One thing I'd mention is just because you're choosing to enter electronically versus mailing in your entry, that doesn't necessarily mean it's less work. Online entries are judged exactly the same way as the entries that are mailed in, meaning the same level of detail and documentation that's required of entries that are mailed in is also required of people that are entering electronically. Excuse me. Once you've finished entering all of the required information into your form, you're going to email that form along with any of the required documentation to us here at NFDA, to pursuit@nfda.org. And the instructions for all of this are in the electronic entry form. It's a lot of your documentation files, if they're really large, and meaning you can't send them all in one email, you may need to divide your entry form and documentation across several emails. I'd encourage you to make sure that your email, the body of the email has your name as the Pursuit of Excellence contact, your funeral home's name, as well as the city, state, and country that applies. That just helps us here at NFDA make sure that we're organized and that we have everything that we need from your funeral home. Jim, I know you've been using the electronic and online entry form the last couple of years. Why do you choose to do that compared with mailing?
Right. We used to do the scrapbooks, and they were great fun to put together. But our firm we're a small firm. We serve around 100 families a year, and there's only 2 of us here. So we just found that for us, it was an easier, simpler way. And then secondly, this has to do with more of my green side of greening my business. We don't like to keep paper here. So for me to keep this big scrapbook and trying to keep all that documentation for the materials, we've chosen to do that electronically. At my funeral home, we scan all of our different information into files and keep everything electronically here in our office. So for us, it just goes along with the way that I choose to run my business. There's nothing wrong with the scrapbooks and putting that together. I've just found that because our content that we already have is already an electronic file, doing it electronically was just made sense for our firm.
Great. Okay. Your other entry for submission is by mail. We really encourage people to use some sort of word processing program to put together their entry and all of the descriptions of how they fulfilled the criteria. It's important that you clearly label each criteria description so that we know you're fulfilling criteria 2B, and we don't have to kind of hunt around and guess what criteria you're trying to fulfill. All of your entry materials should be assembled in an organized bound format. For example, or a folder, a 3-ring binder, a scrapbook, whatever format you choose. Whether you choose something very simple or go with a more elaborate scrapbook, you know, that's completely up to you. I know some of the firms that put together the big scrapbooks, they actually put those on display in their funeral home so that people, families that are visiting, can see the things that their funeral home has done for families, for the community. Okay, Jim, do you want to talk a little bit about the 6 categories of achievement?
Absolutely. As Jessica mentioned, the categories are broken up into 6 different categories for the achievement of the program itself. And there are basic requirements, and there are 9 of those, and all of those have to be fulfilled. So, for example, each of these categories have different suggestions, things that you can do, and you have to complete, for example, 4 out of 8 or 4 out of 11. But the basic requirements is a must. You have to fulfill all of these requirements. There is the Pledge of Ethical Practices that all the funeral directors sign. There is the Statement of Goods and Services that your FTC, that you're in compliance with the rule. And not many people realize this or take advantage of it, but one of the member benefits of being an NFDA member is that you do have access to Scott Gilligan, who is the NFDA's general legal counsel. And what we've done in the past is we simply mailed Scott Gilligan a copy of our general price list. He reviews it, makes sure that it's compliant, and then he writes us a letter back saying your price list is compliant, or maybe, you know what, you need to reword this, maybe do this, fix this on your price list. But that is proof that we have gotten that done, and that's free to all NFDA members, and we've taken advantage of that in the past. There is the statement signed by the funeral home owner saying that we are compliant with the FTC and OSHA, and that my staff has taken this different trainings. There is the statement signed by the funeral home that we are in compliance with OSHA, like I mentioned. There are statements saying that we've all taken our OSHA training, and there are documentations that go along with it. You know, everyone knows when you take continuing education, you get your little CE credits. We'll keep all of those, and that's one of the ways that you can prove that your staff has taken its different FTC training or OSHA training. There are another category, for example, would be showing ways in which we are bound by our local regulations, including maybe waste management and recycling practices, ways that we're looking to conserve water or air quality. These are all different things. It's a statement that you put together. You need to also provide a signed statement stating that the funeral home gathers customer satisfaction feedback or surveys. Again, NFDA has these programs available to you. There's a customer satisfaction program that NFDA has, and you can check that out on NFDA's website. We happen to have implemented our own customer survey. So again, we just prove that we are following through with our families. And then finally, just an essay describing some sort of innovative program that you've done throughout the year. And maybe it's you talk about your holiday memorial program that you've put on for your families, or perhaps you sponsor a summer veterans baseball game or something to that effect. We want to write a little essay. Now that essay is ultimately what could be considered for the best of the best. So that's where those new and unusual category kind of falls into, showing off a little bit. letting other people know what you've implemented in your funeral home. And then finally, we do require that a picture of your staff. We want to use that not only for publication materials, but that also at NFDA convention in the NFDA booth. There is a large screen television that is showing all of the different members and their staffs who have participated in the program throughout the year. So those are the kind of about 9 basic requirements that are a must. Some examples then, if we look at the other categories for leadership and staff professional development, would be technical training. Again, we all have those classes we have to go to keep our CE. So maybe you've had an embalming class or a class on tissue donation. So again, you're just going to document that with your CE credits and say on this date, this person attended here, and this is what they learned. Another category in that section might be how you've implemented some training on natural burials, something that I'm very interested in. Maybe you took a class about alkaline hydrolysis, or maybe you attended my class that I've taught at NFDA in the past about implementing green practices into your funeral home. So those are kind of the professional development for the staff. The second or third category that we look at is family outreach. What are we doing out in the community? So for example, that could be maybe you're providing an aftercare or grief support services. Or perhaps you are holding your holiday memorial program. That would fall into this category. Again, things you're already doing. Maybe you are participating in a program with your local hospice or palliative care organization. Or perhaps you are looking at some innovative funeral ideas, things that you've done in your funeral home that are new and different. So those would be things that you're reaching out to families to show. The fourth category is community service and education. So what are we doing to go out into the community? Perhaps we're putting on a program for civics groups, like I go out and I talk at our Kiwanis Club or our local Rotary Club about maybe the importance of pre-planning, something like that. That would fit into this category. Maybe we're volunteering for different things, Meals on Wheels, Habitat for Humanity. That would all fall into the community educate or community service program. Perhaps you are participating in your local government. Maybe you're on the county board or the town board. That would, again, count for these community different outreaches. The fifth category is our professional service and participation. So this is looking to involve those funeral directors of what they're doing. So maybe your funeral director or you yourself serve on a local funeral board. Maybe you're on your funeral organization in your district or on your state board. Maybe you're involved with your local mortuary science program. Maybe you volunteer there or teach a class or educate for them. Perhaps you have an apprentice or a student embalmer. That, as long as you are overseeing their continuing education, that would fall into this category also. Another one would be simply attending your state conventions or even NFDA's national convention. Perhaps you've gone to the NFDA Advocacy Summit in Washington, D.C. in March. That would all fall into these professional services and participation. And then the last category that we look at is the marketing, advertising, and public relations. How are you using this information to get it out to your community? So perhaps we're taking out an ad in the newspaper. And for example, at my funeral home, we use the Pursuit of Excellence logo on all of our printed materials. It's on our letterhead, it's on our masthead, it's on our envelopes, it's on every printed material that we send out, letting families know that our funeral home has been recognized by NFDA as a Pursuit of Excellence winner. Maybe you have a newsletter that you send out to your families through your follow-through care. That would fall into this category. Maybe you've established a clergy relations program. Some funeral homes choose to have a clergy luncheon, kind of a thank you, and that's a way of encouraging dialogue between hospice workers and clergy workers and social workers in your community. And those would all fall into these public relations and marketing categories. So I think that pretty much gives you an idea of what the different categories that we're looking at when we were judging your Pursuit of Excellence entry. Jessica?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, those categories really cover a wide range of what it is that you're doing in your funeral home. So hopefully it wouldn't be too hard for most firms to find something that would meet each of the required criteria in each category. When you're trying to decide what programs and services you want to describe in your entry, keep the following time frames in mind. If you are a first-time participant, this is your very first time participating in Pursuit of Excellence, you can actually go back over the past 3 years and describe various activities for criteria fulfillment. If you are a returning participant, meaning you kind of know what's expected of you in the program, you can only go back 1 year. And believe me, the committee really looks at that. We have people sometimes try and sneak things in that might be outside of the time frames, but the committee always catches that. Jimmy, do you want to talk a little bit about what the Pursuit of Excellence Committee actually looks for when they're reviewing the information that's submitted in entries?
Absolutely. As I kind of was talking about before, a lot of the things in these categories are things you already do. It just makes you kind of look at the way you're doing business. But what the committee is ultimately going to do is we want to see those things you normally do that are maybe just a little different than the way everyone else is doing it. Like I mentioned before, everybody probably has a holiday memorial program, and that's great. That's very important for the families that we serve. And even though that fulfills a requirement, it's not that different. So it's a great idea and it's something that should be done, but a lot of funeral homes already do that. So what we're looking for is originality. The thoughtfulness put in behind it. Again, you can have that holiday memorial program, but perhaps you took it a step further and you implemented something like a balloon release or a dove release and kind of twisted it a little bit so that it's not quite the same as every other year. So, we're looking for follow-through of how you've completed the idea, how far you've taken that all the way through, and then ultimately how you've documented this. We want to see step by step what was in the planning of this, how it can be implemented into other people's funeral homes, and that's part of the process. Is this has to be repeatable. I guess that's the word I like to use, is repeatable. How can another funeral home implement this? So, for example, we had a firm that put in an entry of something that they had did for a very specific set of circumstances. There happened to be I think it was a tornado or a tragedy in their community, and they stepped up and got very involved. And even though that completed the category, well, that wasn't repeatable. It wasn't something that other funeral homes could do because there obviously was a one-time tragic event. So again, we're looking at something that can be used again, the originality of it, the thoughtfulness, kind of the thoroughness of it, and then that documentation. Very specifically, we want to know who, what, when, where, why, who attended this, what they did, when it was done, date and time, and then why. Why were we out there doing this particular thing? So those are pretty much the kind of the categories that the judging panel looks at when looking at these entries.
Mm-hmm. Great. And one thing I would note, sometimes as funeral homes are describing how they've fulfilled a particular criteria, the description that they submit may not be quite up to the committee standards. Like, for example, not including the date that they attended a particular continuing education program, or not providing enough detail. If you don't provide that level of detail, particularly in the basic requirements section, that could be grounds for disqualification. However, the committee, because we want you firms to earn this award, we want people to be successful. The committee will often call the funeral home right as they're here at NFDA headquarters judging the entries. They'll call the firm and ask them to resubmit that criteria. So in August, when the committee is here, if you get a phone call from someone asking for more information, we highly encourage you to submit that additional information. There we go. I just wanted to share a couple of examples of really good, solid descriptions that the committee would be looking for when a funeral home is describing how it's fulfill the criteria. In this example, this is a really good description. It includes the date of the program, the name of the program, the names of the funeral home staff that attended. It describes what they learned and how it's being implemented in the funeral home. And also note it's clearly labeled, which is something that we'd be looking for in particular with the entries that are mailed in. Here's another good example. Again, it's very specific in describing a staff member's involvement in the local Lions Club. It's always best to err on the side of providing too much information. If you're in doubt about whether the level of detail you're providing is enough, feel free to call NFDA. I'm here to help. Your member service representatives can help. We can provide some guidance and let you know whether you're on the right track. So you've put together your entry. You submitted it by the July 11th deadline. What happens next? Once your entry arrives at NFDA headquarters, myself and my colleague who works with me in our communications department, Sandy, we check in every entry. We log it into our system. We'll do a very brief cursory check to make sure that everything's in order, that we have your registration form, your signed pledge of ethical practices, your staff photo. If we see that something's missing, we'll reach out to you. So if you get a call or email from one of us, please be prompt in replying to us and getting us anything that we need that may be missing. We also begin preparing for the Pursuit of Excellence Committee to actually come to NFDA headquarters to review the entries. Part of that preparation involves the committee doing a preliminary review of all of the essays that want to be considered for the Best of the Best award. Every essay is read by 2 to 3 committee members in advance. And by doing this initial review, we found that it really helps the committee kind of narrow down that group of essays to their top selections. All of the essays are, of course, discussed in further detail during our review meeting, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. We've been talking on and off here about our Pursuit of Excellence Committee, but I just want to, share the names of our committee members. I think what's important to note is that they're all funeral directors like you. Some are from smaller firms, some are from larger firms, some are all somewhere in the middle. But what's most important is that they're all program participants. 8 of them have been inducted into the Hall of Excellence. Together, they have more than 170 years of experience participating in the program, which I think is pretty darn impressive. As you saw on the previous slide, our co-chairs this year are Lynn Ockeltree and my co-presenter, Jim Olson. Randy Anderson is our executive board liaison, and we're lucky to have Richard Myers as our emeritus resource. Richard is a past president of NFDA, and he's the man who founded the program. And I'm just so pleased that he continues to be involved and to advocate for the program just as passionately today as he did when it was founded. Jimmy, I don't know if you want to say anything about your fellow committee members.
Well, they're wonderful, wonderful people to work with on this committee. They're extremely dedicated to the program. All of these are multiple award winners over the years. They're also firms that you can tell that they promote this in their community. When you go to their website, it's probably going to be right on their homepage of their funeral home. So they're all there, are really dedicated to the program, to uphold the program and the standards, and for advocating for the program, talking about it. At NFDA, at convention, when you come to, if you've ever been to national convention, there's a kind of NFDA Central, and there is the Pursuit of Excellence booth. And that booth is almost always staffed by volunteer members from Pursuit of Excellence who are really there to encourage people to participate and willing to answer questions and talk about the programs. They really do advocate for the program.
Yeah, and we're very grateful for their service, especially the way they take time away from their businesses to come to NFDA for 2 days in mid-August to review entries. I know it's especially for those that are from smaller firms, it's not always easy to be away from your business for 2 days, so we're grateful for that. As I said, the review takes place over 2 days at NFDA headquarters. All of the entries are peer-reviewed. So it's the funeral directors who are on this Pursuit of Excellence committee who are reviewing each and every entry. It's not NFDA staff. We're not involved in that decision-making process. It's your fellow members. Jim, do you want to talk a little bit about sort of what it's like reviewing those entries and how?
It's a lot of fun. It's the oddest little experience that when you come into this room for the first time. Jessica has all the entries on multiple tables because there's some of these scrapbooks and they're in piles, and it just seems overwhelming. But all of the judges, the different committee members, we all just kind of pile into that. We all take a few entries back to our seats and we start reading through the review. So there's a category, kind of a checklist that we use to make sure all the basic requirements are met. You have 4 out of the 8 categories, or entries in each category. And then we read them, and oftentimes we'll talk about it. So the room could be very quiet for just a moment while everybody's studying, and all of a sudden someone will break out in laughter at a wonderful, wonderful entry that someone had, and so then we read it out loud and discuss it and share it with everybody. Then conversely, if we perhaps have a question and we don't understand something, we'll say, hey, can I read this to everybody? Does this make sense to someone else? Maybe I just don't understand this. So everything is peer-reviewed, even though it might be one committee member reading that particular entry at that particular time. It is shared with the whole committee. Every single entry is talked about. So it's not just one person's opinion about your entry. It is the entire group together, and it's a committee decision. And again, it's a lot of fun. It can be a little overwhelming. It's a long 2 days reading through all these entries, and but the volunteers who do this are amazing people. And again, they are award winners themselves, so they are kind of comparing it, knowing what the work that went into this and how difficult it was for some funeral homes to be able to do this, being that they're very small and maybe they're just a one-person funeral home. So we do give credence to that. We certainly understand what they went through to take the time out of their schedule to put this together, and they are awarded for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, Jimmy, one of Lynn's favorite words that he likes to use is, he always says each entry is scrutinized. He always uses that word scrutiny, which I think is true. I think, because
it is, they are, absolutely.
All of you are program participants, you're really tough on these people. You're, things that I, just as a staff member might say, yeah, that's okay. You guys are really tough. So, anyone that, can put in the work, is certainly worthy of an award. And, the award has meaning because there is that scrutiny. Okay. So as I mentioned, we've been mentioning throughout our presentation, the Best of the Best award is based on that essay that you submit as part of your basic requirements. If you want to be considered for Best of the Best, that's something you can indicate on the registration form. If you're entering electronically, there's a little checkbox that you have to tick. And if you want to be considered for Best of the Best, you have to submit documentation along with your essay. This could be a newspaper article, photos, a flyer, just something that helps illustrate what it is that you're describing in your essay. When the committee is reviewing Best of the Best essays, again, this is a decision that the Pursuit of Excellence Committee is making. It's not NFDA staff. I stay out of it. But, here on the screen, these are a few things they look at. Tim, do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it's uniqueness. How different is this? It's not, again, something that just fits a category for the sake of fitting a category. You've taken it above and beyond. What makes it unique? Kind of how those who were served by this were benefited. Was this the community that was benefited? Was it the families that you serve that are benefited? Was it the hospice organization that was benefited? We want to see that. Who was served best by this idea? The source of the idea, where did this come from? How did you put this together? What was the impetus for this? Perhaps, again, maybe you had a tragedy in your community and your funeral home stepped forward. But again, we want to make sure that that idea is replicable, that we can, some other funeral home can carry it out. We don't, and honestly, we don't look at budget. There are large funeral homes out there that participate in Pursuit of Excellence that have more money than I'll ever imagine for implementing in these things. I'm a small firm. I don't have a lot of money to put into that, and that budget is not even a consideration. We don't even look at that. You could have a very easy, simple program that you've implemented that other small funeral homes could implement. It's not fair to give just credence to those large funeral homes that have a lot of dollars to spend on these ideas. So budget doesn't even fall into it. We want to see the quality of that implementation. How far did you take it? How did your whole staff participate in it? And ultimately, again, is that idea, can you replicate that idea for those? When my firm won in 2009, the Best of the Best, our idea was based on something that we could do together as a funeral home. So our primary goal was reaching out to a charity event that raised money for children's charities, and but we put on an event here at the funeral home where the entire staff got to participate. So, and then we also took lots of pictures of it. We documented the whole thing, and then also put in there how other firms could put this into their program. So those are kind of the ideas that the committee is looking for.
Yeah, and really it's that uniqueness on a national level is the one thing I think during the Best of the Best deliberations that the committee keeps going back to time and time again. There are some incredible programs that are described in these essays, but you know, when you look on a national level, there are things that have been done before. So it's really looking for those unique, never been done before, out of the box ideas that the committee are looking for when choosing Best of the Best. And really, I mean, that's why sometimes we don't always give out all 10 Best of the Best awards. There just it may not be enough unique ideas that are submitted. So, you know, that's why in the last couple of years we've only given out 3, 4, 5 Best of the Best awards. After all of the entries have been reviewed by the Pursuit of Excellence Committee, there are a number of things that happen. The first thing, we of course, sort of on the NFDA staff side, there's some administrative things we have to handle after the committee leaves, but we send out our award notifications by the first week in September at the very latest. You'll likely receive it before then, but that's sort of the very latest that you'll receive it. You'll also receive by email your suite of promotional materials, so that press release, logos, ad slicks, so that you can begin using those right away and spreading the news in your community about your achievement. And we'll also, if you haven't already done so, you'll have an opportunity to order some of that commemorative merchandise, which is optional, but many firms like to do that. NFDA, we will send out a news release with the names of all of the award recipients to the funeral service trade media. The news release is also posted on our website, social media sites. It's included in various NFDA publications so that your peers can know about your achievements. During the NFDA convention, we have a chance to congratulate and recognize our award recipients. We, of course, have the annual All-Star ceremony where you will be formally recognized. You'll receive your certificate of achievement, have your photo taken with the president of NFDA, which is really nice. A lot of firms like that because then they send that off to their local newspaper. We also have a Pursuit of Excellence booth in NFDA Central where you can learn more about our Best of the Best award recipients. We'll have big signs with the names of all of the award recipients. You can pick up registration materials for the next program year. You can also register in advance at a special convention-only price. After the convention, we will mail all of the entries and the review sheets back to program participants. And if you weren't able to come to the NFDA convention, we will mail your certificate to you along with your entry. So I hope this has helped make Pursuit of Excellence a little less mysterious. I encourage you to visit the Pursuit of Excellence page on the NFDA website to learn more about the program, to download those registration and application materials. You can also see a list of last year's award recipients, read essays from other program participants, and several other things. If you have questions, please contact us. Again, we want you to succeed. We want you to earn this award. I'm here to help. Your member service representatives can help. We can also refer you to a member of our Pursuit of Excellence Committee who can help guide you through the entry process. Jimmy, do you want to maybe just give us a few concluding words?
Sure. Again, I would encourage anyone to do this. If you haven't done it yet, don't be afraid of the program. It is very easy to do because, again, what it's going to make you do is realize that, hey, I already do all this stuff. All you're doing is documenting the things that you already do. Don't think that you can't participate in the program because, oh, I don't have any new ideas and I'm not an innovator and I'm not big enough and I don't have a lot of money. All it's doing is pointing out the things that you already do, and we're asking you to document them. We all participate in our local civic organizations. We all volunteer our time. We all give to different organizations. We all have to take continuing education credit. So again, there's half the program right there of the things that you already do. So it's very easy to do. Don't be afraid of the program. Myself, Lynn Ochiltree, the other members of the committee are always there to help walk you through that process. If you have any questions and say, hey, do you think this is this something that would fit into a category, by all means, call myself, call Jessica at NFDA, call your member service reps. They all know the program, and they're all willing to walk you through this. It is so easy to participate in this, especially with the electronic version. Again, you don't have to be crafty and make a big scrapbook. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because let me tell you, as a judge on this committee or a member of the committee, I would rather look at the wonderful colored full scrapbooks of all the documentation and get some ideas. But we can certainly, the electronic versions are just as important. The information is all there. They're just not as colorful and flashy. And that's what I do, because I just, again, don't have time to be putting into this. So again, it's very easy to participate. And again, it's just recognizing the things that you're already doing in your funeral home. So I encourage you to participate. That's what I would like to say about this. Thank you.
All right.
And if anybody has questions, you could key them in right now and just hit send. Jessica and Jim, there aren't any questions that have come in. You've done such a great job of covering all this information. And as you can see here, they both told you that they'd be happy to answer your questions if you send them in to us. You can send them to pursuit@nfda.org. Or you could call your member service representative, and the NFDA number is listed there. Again, probably the best place to start is looking at the website. Is that correct, Jessica and Jim?
Yeah, I think that's a really great place to start. Again, that website is nfda.org/pursuitofexcellence. That's where you can. That's a great starting point. You can download that registration and application materials booklet, and that will really provide a lot of information and help you understand exactly what it is you need to do to succeed and to earn an award.
And Jessica, I think you need to give us some context on this picture. Is this at a convention?
Yes, this was at our NFDA convention in Austin, Texas. That's me.
No wonder you look so happy.
Yeah, exactly. And this is at the welcome party, so we weren't quite exhausted yet. The convention was just beginning.
Well, thank you so much, Jessica. Is there anything you want to finish with?
Well, no, I'd just like to thank everyone for participating today. I hope, as I said, we've kind of taken the mystery out of Pursuit of Excellence, and that we'll see some new participants this year.
You have done a great job, both of you, of providing a lot of good information about Pursuit. So thank you very much, Jessica and Jim, and also thanks to our audience. I know you have busy days, and we appreciate you taking the time out to be with us today. Again, if you have any additional questions, there's a number of avenues that you have that you can send them in.